thank you. It's so hot.
So that would be cool. Hey, run up the hill. Yeah, run up the hill.
Okay, well, what's the now?
So it's punch for the quest balls. So I don't know whether they all look like shields. So they might all look like shields, maybe.
But they come from Dublin.
Right, maybe, I don't know, let's try and go. Shall we?
Yeah.
Look, from here.
Do otwierania bramy, nie?
Misalnya ada kemudian.
No, non molto.
Wait.
Fajne zdjęcia by stamtąd wyszły. Fajnie wyszły.
How many?
2 залишають. Бербери, бербери.
Oh, yeah.
Well, everyone has voices, so you can always.
Next. Oh.
I was trying to make a joke of it and go.
You will find it.
When you smack your knee, reflex. he bought me something really nice.
That's why animal.